My boss told me I was too inexperienced to deserve a bonus after I worked 80-hour weeks for 6 months straight. I watched him hand out cash envelopes to everyone else at the holiday party. Even the intern who started 2 weeks ago got $500. When he passed my desk, he just said, "Maybe next year, champ." I smiled and kept working. The party was at this upscale hotel downtown. Everyone dressed up. There was an open bar, catered food, the whole deal. I'd been looking forward to it for weeks, not because I cared about fancy appetizers, but because I genuinely thought my work would finally be recognized. I'd closed 3 major accounts that quarter. Accounts my boss had written off as impossible. I stayed until midnight most nights, came in on weekends, skipped my sister's wedding to finish a presentation. My girlfriend had started calling me a ghost because she barely saw me anymore. The biggest account was Miller Industries. They were ready to walk after my boss botched the initial pitch. I spent 2 weeks rebuilding that relationship from scratch. Cold calls, research. I even learned about their CEO's college rowing career just to find common ground. When they finally signed, it was a $2 million deal. Then there was the Hartford Group. My boss had promised them a deliverable he didn't even understand. I had to teach myself an entirely new software program in 72 hours to make it happen. Didn't sleep, lived on energy drinks and pizza, but I delivered. So when bonus time came, I actually thought I had a shot. My coworkers kept telling me I'd earned it. One guy even joked that I'd probably get double whatever he got. Then I watched my boss walk around the room like Santa Claus. He handed envelopes to everyone. The sales guy who missed quota got $800. The marketing coordinator who'd been there 4 months got $600. Even Jessica, the intern who still didn't know how to work the copy machine, got $500. He skipped right past me. Didn't even make eye contact, just kept walking like I was furniture. When I finally caught up to him by the bar, he was laughing with the VP about golf. I asked him quietly if there was an envelope for me. He looked annoyed that I'd interrupted his conversation. "You're still learning the ropes," he said, sipping his whiskey. "Can't expect top-tier rewards when you're still figuring things out. Maybe next year, champ." The VP nodded along like this made perfect sense. I stood there holding my drink, feeling my face get hot, but I didn't argue. I just walked back to my table and sat down. What neither of them knew was that I'd been keeping records, detailed records. Every time my boss left at 3 p.m. for a client meeting that was actually a golf game. Every project where I did the work and he presented it as his own. Every email chain where he threw me under the bus to cover his mistakes. I had timestamps, screenshots, forwarded emails with his name on my work. I even had a spreadsheet tracking his actual hours versus what he reported. I'd also been doing something else. For the past 4 months, I'd been sending weekly progress reports directly to corporate, not to my boss, to his boss, the regional director who actually cared about numbers and results. I laid out every account I'd closed, every client I'd saved, every deadline I'd met while my boss took credit. I kept it professional, no emotions, just facts, timestamps, and attached emails. 3 days after the holiday party, my boss got called into an unexpected meeting with the regional director. He seemed confused but not worried. Probably thought it was about next quarter's goals. The meeting was scheduled for 30 minutes. It lasted exactly 10. When he came back out, his face was completely drained of color. He didn't look at anyone, just walked straight into his office and closed the door. I could see him through the glass walls, pacing back and forth, running his hands through his hair. He made a phone call, then another. Then he just sat there staring at his desk. 20 minutes later, he came out carrying a cardboard box, his desk photos, his coffee mug, that stupid motivational poster about leadership he loved. He walked past all of us without saying a word and got on the elevator. Nobody knew what to say. People were whispering, looking at each other. Jessica asked if anyone knew what happened. I just shrugged and went back to my computer. HR called me 5 minutes later. My heart was pounding. I thought I was done. Going over your boss's head is usually career suicide, and I figured corporate told him everything, and now I was getting fired for being a snitch. I walked into the HR office expecting the worst. The HR director was sitting there with the regional director. Both of them were smiling. They told me my reports had been incredibly valuable, that they'd been monitoring my boss for months, but needed concrete evidence, that my documentation gave them exactly what they needed. Then the regional director slid a folder across the desk and said they were offering me my boss's position, effective immediately, with his full salary, his entire bonus pool, and a formal apology for how I'd been treated. I leave his LinkedIn messages on record.